here to talk to you now about Marie de France's story Yonec and how to read it as a hero's journey. I'm not sure if you can see this or not, but if you remember with the hero's journey, it's very important with the hero's journey to look first in terms of the known and the unknown. What is the girl's known world? What is her unknown world? So if we have to look at her known world at this point when we meet her is she's locked in a tower. She knows imprisonment. She knows what it's like to be lonely. So what is her unknown world? Her unknown world is the world of love, the world of freedom to some degree. So once we can determine that, now we need to go back and we need to plug in the pieces. What is the call to adventure in the short story Yonec? The call to adventure is on page 1344. It's actually when the Hawk Knight comes to her. Everything leading up to that point is just set up. We can see her loneliness, we can see her despair, we can see her imprisonment. But on 1344, the Hawk Knight comes to her and says, "Lady, don't be afraid. The hawk is a noble bird. Although its secrets are unknown to you, be reassured and accept me as your love." The call to adventure is in those lines. Accept me as your love. So she has a decision at this point. This is how we know this is the call to adventure. She can either say, sure, I will accept your love and go on this journey with him, albeit it's an emotional journey. She doesn't travel from the tower until later, but it's an emotional journey. She wants to feel this love. She wants to know what it's like not to be lonely anymore. We also know this is the call to adventure because if she rejected that, when he said, accept me as your love, if she rejected that, the story would have ended. There would have been no need for the Hawk Knight to ever come back, and she would have remained imprisoned. So we know that that is her call to adventure. That's her jumping off point when she accepts him. Okay, so next what we want to look at is we want to look at the triumph. What is the triumph of this? What is she after? When he says, accept me as your love, what's the goal? To be loved. So that's the goal. So where does she receive this triumph? If we look at page 1348, the seeds of the triumph are listed there. He says to her, and this is after the Hawk Knight is wounded and she's carrying their baby, Yonec, in her womb. He says to her, he's wounded, and he says, my sweet love, I lose my life for love of you. I told you it would happen, that your appearance would kill us. When she heard that, she fainted. And she's always fainting in this text. She fainted. For a short while, she lay as if dead. He comforted her gently. He said that grief would do no good, but that she was pregnant with his child. She would have a son, brave and strong, who would comfort her. She would call him Yonec. He would avenge both of them and kill their enemy. So there's the seeds of triumph in this prophecy. She would bear a son. He would be brave and strong. He would comfort her. Again, triumph, comforting that loneliness, that she was craving to eradicate that loneliness. The Hawk Knight was there, but the son would ultimately comfort that loneliness. Not only that, but he would avenge both of them by killing their enemy, which was the old man. So that's the prophecy on page 1348. On 1352, we see that prophecy come true, and here is the ultimate triumph. Here is the triumph fulfilled at that point. Bottom of the page it says, she faints again, and she faints and falls actually into death at this point after discovering the Hawk Knight's tomb. It says she never spoke again. When her son, that's Yonec, when her son saw that she had died, he cut off his stepfather's head. Thus with his father's sword he avenged his mother's sorrow. When all of this had happened, when it became known throughout the city, they took the lady with great honor and placed her in the coffin. So here we have the triumph, but our protagonist dies. Okay, there is a form of triumph, but the seed of the protagonist, it found in Yonec, is what lives on. And we find the elixir just a few lines down. They make Yonec their lord. Now peace is restored in the land, because you got to remember the elixir benefits the community. So we got to figure out, well, what benefits the community? Sometimes the protagonist has to give up his or her life for the elixir to take effect. You look at a modern day story where this happens. I know some of you are probably more familiar with it, Armageddon. The one man who went into space, essentially he had to give up his life. It was his story. He was the protagonist, but he had to give up his life so that Earth could be saved. So you got to look at the text in terms of that. She had to give up her life